Hello my friends, this is the next episode of A Look in the Dark, and it's chapter 10, which is called Now 4, and this is the fifth part of chapter 10. And you might remember in the fourth part, Carol was now travelling back to Somerset with their new assistant Sue. They were having a coffee on Paddington Station. They were soon going to be travelling down to Bath to meet up with Danny Green, who would take them back to Frome. And Sue had been interested in chatting with Carol, and she said to her, "You have a beautiful accent, Mrs. McGovern. Did you tell me it's County Tyrone? You've a good memory. I'm impressed. Oh, and just call me Carol, will you? And it's Carol Green, not McGovern. No, you were right. To Major Stanhurst." "I am Mrs. McGovern." "You do have a good memory, so you do." "Well, I do when I'm interested in something. Why did you give the wrong name at the office?" Sue's face was creased up in a pattern of perplexity. That Sue will become clear when I tell you the nature of the work you're going to be doing. It does involve animals, and especially birds, and it also involves your former employer. Did you do any Latin at school? Latin? No. Doesn't matter, because Danny's books help us work it out anyway. He has a terrific library, so we'll never be stuck. A library in Latin? No, bless you. Oh, birds and animals. Don't worry, it'll all be clear soon. We'd better get to the platform. Once on board the train, the conversation had to stop until their arrival at Reading, because there was no place where the two girls could sit together. At Reading station, as a number of people stood up to get off, Carol hurried to take the seat beside Sue. She'd been a bit concerned about the roving eye of the middle-aged commuter who'd been beside her, but Sue had been concentrating on the fast-moving countryside and had hardly noticed him. In fact, the only thing she had noticed was that his tie definitely did not match his shirt. Carol was so much wanting to tell Sue what her work would involve, all about the investigation, but she knew that a crowded train was not the right place. It would have to wait. As they travelled, it was established that while Sue had been all over the place on the railway with her parents, she'd never actually spent a day in Bath or Frome. She expressed surprise that her mother had let her go off with a stranger, and laughingly stated that for all her mum knew, she might have been captured by aliens. Carol knew that this young lass was going to fit in just fine, and under the polite exterior she could see that Sue had enough madness to be at home in the Greens' household. Also, Sue's expressions about the thatched Berkshire houses that they passed near to revealed an artistic appreciation for beauty and a sensitive side that a lot of young people would have been afraid to show, feeling it wasn't cool. Carol explained in low tones that there was a secret side to the work they were doing, and quickly added that there was nothing illegal about it, but she would be involved in an important work. In fact, to the contrary, it would eventually be of help to those who enforced the law. As Carol told her this, she hoped that this would prove to be the case, that their work would be treated seriously. She had a dread that they would spend much time and effort, risk their lives, and then be dismissed as of no account. She was never sure if it was living in Northern Ireland that had given her the less than 100% trust in authority, but if it was the case, then she wondered why Sir Richard Claymore shared such similar feelings. Surely his privileged background should have turned him in a different direction, in line with his particular production line. Could Eton and Dungannon really leave two people with the same kind of scepticism? Maybe they were both rebels. Carol found that thought very appealing. "You know, Sue, over the next few weeks you're going to be getting involved in a really important work that will be of lasting benefit to the world's wildlife. When we get to Bath, we'll get a chat, that is you, me and Danny, and you'll get the picture clearer. It must all be a bit blurred right now." "It is a bit. You said your husband is a writer." "Yes, he writes about the natural world and especially about birds. He's only recently given up his full-time work to concentrate on his writing. Birds are his passion, and you know it has really rubbed off on me. I warn you, it's catching. Do you know, Sue, that when we met he made me feel like I was looking at the countryside for the first time? And I'm a wee country girl and had always had an interest in nature." "You love him a lot, don't you?" "Shows, does it? Aye, I love him lots. And he feels the same about me. It's great, so it is. My mum and dad are like that, but I think I've put them under a bit of a strain lately. Sue lowered her eyes and her tone of voice which tailed off into a whisper. Some of that's just the way it is when parents and teenagers are in the same house. But all this with the Major hasn't helped, has it? Don't worry, Sue, a wee while down here and you're going to feel so much better and your dad will miss you like crazy, so when you go home, well, also you're giving him something to be proud of too. I hope so. One of my best friends from school has stayed on to do her A-level exams. She wants to be a doctor. I think maybe my dad thinks I should be more like her. Maybe. But if you're not like her, still what your father really wants is what is best for you, so he has to see you making what he thinks are wise choices. It's all about experience, Sue. You'll learn a lot from this experience, more than you would ever have learned in Stanhurst's office. As Carol was speaking, the train was passing through the beginnings of Bath, and it was soon slowing up as it entered Bath's Bar station. Outside, Danny Green was just cooling down from the experience of trying to find a parking space near the railway. He soon forgot his irritation though, and as the sun at last came shining through the breaking cloud, he concentrated on solving the mystery of who Sue was. Walking across to the station entrance, he whistled the old Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, which made him smile, so he had to stop whistling, finding it hard to do both at the same time. As the two young ladies stepped out of the train, Sue struggled with a large case and Carol with a smaller one and the book that she'd purchased from Stanhurst. "Can I carry your bags, madam?" Danny's posh accent didn't fool Carol even from behind. "Ah, you can, but give us a kiss first, my good man." Sue looked on a little embarrassed as the Greens enjoyed a 30-second hug and kiss worthy of an Oscar. Carol nearly dropped the book, so Sue rescued it, and Carol broke away from her husband's grasp. "Sorry, Sue. Meet the husband, Danny Green. Husband, meet Sue Parry." Danny held his hand out, and as they shook hands, he gave the young girl a warm smile. "Hello, Mr. Green," she responded. "Hi, Sue." "Oh, and it's Danny. Just call me Danny. The only people who call me Mr. Green are people from Inland Revenue and the bank manager." Laughingly, Sue replied, "Okay, hello, Danny." "Right, Pulteney Bridge, here we come. I know, Dan, that I've got a lot of explaining to do, and to you as well, Sue, but I'm telling you nothing till I get my promised coffee. My lips are sealed, so they are, and the way to get them open is put caffeine between them." It was easier to walk than to try and repark the car, and as the Greens and the new arrival walked down Manvers Street and toward Parade Gardens, Danny and Carol pointed out buildings of interest, and Sue was especially impressed by the view as they walked down the side of Parade Gardens, while Carol highlighted the hotel ahead with 3 very different roof styles. And as they passed the building, Sue could see why people got excited about Bath. They stood to look at the weir and Pulteney Bridge. "You ain't seen nothing yet." Carol was enjoying Sue's excitement. "One day when we have time, I will bring you into Bath and show you some of the fine buildings. But come on, you two, I want my coffee, so I do." Once inside the coffee shop, Carol began to explain everything to both her husband and the new accomplice. Danny was a bit concerned when his wife explained that Sue had worked in the bookfinding office, but she'd been sacked for stealing. Danny knew Stanhurst was a crook, but how could they be sure that Sue wasn't one too? She seemed a nice girl, but they didn't know her. However, when Carol explained how she knew that Sue had not stolen the paper, he could see it all. Sue was a victim of injustice, and it was Carol who'd stolen the stationery, though in the very best of causes. Carol's explanation completely threw Sue. She thought as Carol as someone who'd only been in the office for a few minutes and not alone. It was impossible for her to be responsible for the theft. As the complete story of the break-in was related, Sue's eyes were open nearly as wide as her mouth. Surprise would be understating her emotions, and her face resembled a large exclamation mark. She could not take in that this respectable couple had been guilty of breaking and entering. It surprised her as much as if it had been her father and mother. So, that's as far as we go with this episode. So the situation then, Sue gradually getting the eyes opened to what Stanhurst was all about, finding out more about this couple that she got herself involved with and everything that was going to take place. was gradually falling into place for her. So where does it go next? Listen to the next episode. Thanks for listening, my friends. I hope it's nice where you are. Here the temperature's dropping and the rain clouds are moving in. The beginning of a change that we don't really want to see. Love to one and all. Bye for now. Bye bye.